All right, everyone. Well, thank you for taking the time to make it. We're glad to have you here. Welcome to the kickoff meeting for Motoko Bootcamp. My name is Isaac Valadez. I have a mechanical engineering degree from Baylor University. I'm 31 years old. I have two kids, a 3-year-old and a 2-month-old. I'm a serial entrepreneur. One of my most recent businesses was a successful web design and digital marketing company. And right now I work at AT&T Corporate. And Seb, go ahead.
Right, guys. Welcome, everyone. So my name is Seb. I'm really excited for the bootcamp. So for those of you that we don't know, I'm the developer for ICP Squad, Motoko developer. And I'm going to tell you a bit about my background story, but in the next slide. So be patient.
So for the agenda of this meeting, I'm going to share a little bit about the background of how Motoko Bootcamp got started. Then Seb's going to share his background and a little bit about what the journey is like learning Motoko. And then he's also going to talk about the structure of Motoko Bootcamp. Then I'll go over expectations for the students while they participate. And after that, we'll talk about what happens after Motoko Bootcamp. So way back in June, I filled out a contributor form for Dfinity Community, which is the organization started by Dukaka Tejada, who's just an avid supporter of the internet computer, and Dfinity Community is all things ICP. You already, I'm sure, are familiar with all the media that they produce, and there's multiple projects underneath Dfinity Community. One of them is ICP Squad NFT, which we started and we kicked off in September. And that was another kind of like concept I came up with, and it's been a really fun project, but and Seb works on it full time. One of the first things we quickly realized, though, while we were trying to find help building it, is that there's a severe shortage of talent on the internet computer. And so thinking through how we were going to try to solve that, we had planned to do kind of a hackathon sometime around this time in 2022, but we didn't need the existing developers having their time being taken up more. What we needed was more developers who knew how to build on the internet computer itself. So that's kind of what was the inspiration for Motoko Bootcamp. In early December, before my second daughter was born, I posted in Dfinity Alliance, the Discord server. Dfinity Alliance is another initiative of Dfinity Community. And it's full of builders and entrepreneurs and content creators for the internet computer, kind of a smaller group. They really liked the concept, and we got some dev mentors sign up right away, which is really exciting. So we decided to move forward in January, and around mid-January, we got the Dfinity Foundation $25,000 grant. We had the first distribution that month, and actually most of the grant is going to be used after this event for curating the content that we collect here and translating it and making it into a public resource. And then we announced Motoko Bootcamp in around mid-February, I think. And now, as it stands today, 657 people filled out the registration form and registered. 168 are fully enrolled and actively competing for a really exciting prize pool. We have 21 dev mentors, which we are just really honored to have help with us. We've got the leaders of some of the biggest projects in the ecosystem. It's so exciting to be able to provide you with accessibility to them. And they're going to be working hard. We're going to have 37 lectures and mentorship sessions across the next 8 days. So I think the takeaway here is that the internet computer is full of opportunity. I went from some guy in June who just filled out a form to now leading initiatives like this bootcamp and ICP Squad NFT. It's just a really exciting time in the ecosystem. It's the right time to be joining. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, we have already more than 135 people, which is amazing. Okay, so this is my personal story. So I don't want to show off anything, but I want to encourage you to learn Motoko. Basically, 1 year ago, so exactly on the 5th of March, I started learning Motoko, and I had not any prior experience with programmation or coding or anything. So it was really challenging, but just to tell you, it's possible. And a few months later, I was able to build the avatar minter for ICP Squad, avatar NFT minter, sorry. And yeah, so I want you to really, like, you need to be patient, but it's possible. And it's possible for almost everyone. So my experience with learning Motoko and a few tips, the most difficult part is probably going to be the beginning, especially considering that you need to learn a lot of things except Motoko. You need to learn about computer science. You need to learn about web development, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript. A lot of, I would say, basics of development are the same outside of the internet computer and on the internet computer. So Motoko is only one thing you need to learn, but you also have to search for other resources on the internet. And I would say it takes at least a few months to get really, not really confident, but to know what you're doing exactly. Next tip is to build. I've built a lot of small projects at the beginning, really shitty project. I've built like a really basic web page, then a calculator, and then like more complex projects. But you need to build, and even if you're making mistakes and everything is not perfect, you need to build, and don't hesitate to like show what you're building to other people. Also, I think it's a really good time to learn. When I started to learn, there was not a lot of documentation. It was really difficult. But right now you have the bootcamp, you have some videos, you have all the resources of this bootcamp that will be available after. And the Definity documentation is way better than it was. And lastly, connect with other people. So you need some time, you know, to focus and just code and build, but you also need to connect with other people. We have the Definity developer Discord. And on the Discord, we have a lot of really experimented developer. I would say I've learned a lot just looking at what those people are doing. So, you know, you look at the best people in the ecosystem, you look at their repo, you look at what they are doing, and you try to understand and imitate what they are doing, because we have really, really good developers. Okay, so the structure of the bootcamp, we have different materials. So, sorry, the first thing you need to do is to read the instruction on GitHub. So we will provide a link, and you need to read the main file, the main instructions, at least twice. Everything is explained inside this file, and you have other links to other files, but everything is basically in this this README. So please read it carefully, read it twice, make sure you understand everything. Yeah. Also, we have different. So the bootcamp is it's not like something really like exactly precise. You know, it's more different lectures, mentorship session. Sorry. And also daily guide and daily challenges. So the lectures are exactly like this one. We have mentors providing explanation on different topics. Then you have the daily guide and the daily challenges. So the daily guide, each day you have a file with basically lessons on different topics of the internet computer or computer science related. And inside the guide, you have different challenges that you need to take on. Each day you have 10 challenges, and you need to submit all the 10 challenges if you want to compete for the prizes at the end of the week. The mentorship sessions are held every day. We have a different mentorship session. If you have any issue, if you are stuck on something, you need to join the next mentorship session and ask for help. Also, you have the team channel. So the team channel are on Discord. It's with people from the same time zone as you, and probably with the same level of experience. So don't hesitate to share like what you're doing. If you are stuck, you can ask in the team channel. And finally, we have the core project. So the core project, I will talk a bit more about that in the next presentation. But just to start with it, it's going to be really our challenge. You need to build an NFT minter. So if you are a beginner, I would advise don't start right away. So like don't start just after this meeting. Wait at least until Monday, because on Monday I will provide a lecture on how to start the project basically. And you have more instructions on GitHub as well. Yeah, so that's it for the core project. And the core project is really important because that's what we are going to rank people on. So for the prizes, if you want to compete for the prizes, you need a really good project.
All right, so a little bit about the expectations about around this event, because I know that some of you are complete beginners and learning everything from scratch. You know, the internet computer, part of the whole motivation for Motoko Bootcamp was the fact that there is very little documentation out there for building on the internet computer. And like Seb said, the documentation that Dfinity has put out is better. But there's not as much out there as there are for other topics yet. So that's why a lot of the information you need to be building at the level you want to build is in the heads of the dev mentors who are attending. And our hope with this event is that afterwards we'll be able to take all of these lectures, all of this content that we prepared and that we'll be going through, and after the bootcamp turn it into a good resource. But in the meantime, this event is being run by volunteers with limited capacity. And we're all learning together because it's the very first time we've ever done it. So we're going to need your help. Please carefully read and follow all instructions. Seb said this, and I want to reiterate that. When you run into any kind of roadblock, your first instinct should be the same first instinct as all developers. It's a Google search, or looking through documentation, or looking through resources, or looking for a YouTube video, especially if it's not internet computer related. There's tons of stuff like that out there for all sorts of topics with CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Node.js. After that, I would recommend you go and ask your team, because they may be experiencing the same struggle, and it might be a chance for you to support one another. And then if you still need help, go to our GitHub. There'll be a discussions tab up in our GitHub, and we have a Q&A there that's like a Stack Overflow style. So you can ask questions and have it marked as resolved. Do not ask duplicate questions if you can avoid it. Don't just go there and immediately start typing out your question. Stop and read. Most likely, if you've encountered a question, somebody else has encountered that same question. It might already be active. So just use good GitHub etiquette, use appropriate tags, and yeah, be courteous of the time of our dev mentors. We'll be tagging, the dev mentors will be tagging some of the questions to queue them for the dev mentor successes. And then those will get priority during an upcoming dev mentor succession to be worked live. And then it'll be open discussion in the mentor succession afterwards. So really it all starts on the GitHub. This event is focused on the internet computer. So I want to say one more time, if this is a really, really basic coding concept or something not directly internet computer related, please do your best to use an external resource with Google or YouTube or something else. We expect that you write all of your own code. The teams are just for support, just to kind of share with your learning journey. And we do not want to see any people writing code for somebody else, because that's ultimately you're just hurting yourself. You're just cheating yourself and you're not learning. And we'll talk a little bit about job opportunities in the future, but it's not good to use something that somebody else wrote as a portfolio item for yourself. Right after this call, we ask that all of those who opted in to have teams and who were assigned teams to go into the Discord, and you have for your team a voice chat channel. If for some reason you don't see your mention, use the search feature in GitHub in Discord with your username to see if you can find the mention. If you were assigned a team, well, if you filled out on form 2 that you wanted to opt into being on part of a team, then I did assign you a team a few hours ago. So if you should be in there, and you should see a mention from me under team assignments. Go into that chat, the voice chat channel. I think I included a link in the README for the GitHub on how to just make sure that you get your audio set up if you've never done it before. But Discord is a great place to do voice chats. Get to know your team. Ask why they've joined the boot camp, what they do for a living, where they live, all that kind of thing. And we really want you all to take ownership of the teams. We wanted to have assigned dev mentors per team, but we just didn't have the capacity because the projects really grew way bigger than we thought. So, we recommend that you spend this time also scheduling a time each day that works for all of you to check in and to stay in touch. And, even if it's just 15, 20 minutes, just say hi, how's your day going? What you do yesterday, what you're struggling with, that kind of thing. Maybe you can all come together and ask a single question to the dev mentors, stuff like that. And really, the connections that we build right now is just one of the greatest opportunities and outcomes that we can hope for from this event. So just have fun with it. Have fun getting to know one another. We're all passionate about the same thing. We all have something in common, and we're all nerdy. So that's a good basis to start a relationship off of, I found. So after Motoko Bootcamp, we changed the structure a little bit. We originally had planned on having all of the project submissions evaluated and within one day. But if we have over 100 submissions, that's just not enough time to give everyone the proper attention that they deserve, especially with how big the prizes have grown. So since the amount of students enrolled and the prize pool have just really grown, we want to give you more time. So we changed the deadline for your project submission to right before the conclusion meeting. And then will take several days. The dev mentors will confer for several days, review all of the project submissions carefully. And sometime the following week after the bootcamp, we'll do a live stream and announce the winners. And of course, we'll contact all the winners. Make sure your contact info is all good. I'm sure I have it by now. I think we're going to reconfirm your airdrop wallets, which is also important. Make sure to hit the right wallets in the forms. They'll be upcoming in a bit because there's a lot of exciting prizes out there. We have an article out. If you haven't seen it already, I recommend it because all students who graduate will get some nice perks. Also, as far as job opportunities, I know personally of at least 5 dev mentors who are going to be lurking and looking and watching, trying to fill roles within their organizations. And some of them are pretty exciting organizations. So, your core project isn't just for winning prizes. This is a portfolio item. And this is something you can take with you to show future employers if you want to really do this in the future. And even if you don't want to do it right now, maybe you will later. It's still something worth preserving and valuing. I'm really, really, really excited about the Discover portal. And I just realized in the slide now, I forgot to see, but I'm really excited about this Discover portal. It's going to be an exclusive group just for the graduates of the program. And that means that everybody on that portal is going to know at least a certain level of internet computer development. And the dev mentors will be there too. So, connections, you're going to have direct private connections with some of the top builders in the ecosystem if you get into this portal. I'm super excited and stoked to be part of it. And so are the dev mentors. And we can't wait. This will probably be the first place they go if they have some exciting opportunities. So yeah, let's push hard to try to graduate so you can get part of that portal. After the boot camp, like I said, for the grants, most of the grant is focused actually on the curation of all of this educational content, all of these recordings and everything that we're doing here. So we're going to try to make an online portal that organizes this all, kind of turns it into the step-by-step learning resources that have been missing on the internet computer. And really, we want to translate it into multiple languages to make it more accessible because unfortunately for this event, it's been limited to English and that excludes a lot of people. And we don't like that. So we want to create something that helps the whole ecosystem. Motoko Bootcamp right now, the hope is that we can make this a twice-a-year event. And so the cool thing is if you graduate or participate as a beginner, for example, you can be an intermediate the next time. So maybe later this year, you'll be an intermediate, and you know, you get 2 diplomas. That would be really cool. There's a lot of things that we can do with future Motoko Bootcamp events. When we were in the interview with Dfinity for the grant, they asked us to apply for the 100K grant. And so, you know, there's a good chance that future events will be a lot bigger and have a lot more resources, maybe multiple languages and live translators. So you're participating in a prototype of something that we hope becomes a staple in the ecosystem. But really, what the most exciting thing that happens after Motoko Bootcamp is you and what you're going to build for all of us. And so, you know, adding this many new developers, there's definitely people here that are going to be some founders of exciting new technologies that we all end up using a few months from now. I can't wait to see how the ecosystem is transformed when we have all these people who know how to build added to it. So we're just so excited to have you here. We're so excited to be doing this. Please be patient with us as we try to do our best. And let's get out there and build some amazing stuff for the internet computer. And, you know, we decided also, we knew this presentation would be too long, so we decided to add Q&A to this one as well. So if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. And I see somebody already raised their hand. Well, nope, they put it back down.
Yeah, I have a few things to say before.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so people have been asking about if the content will be available, like exactly when and where. So for the lectures, everything is recorded and will be available on Discord. We will publish it to YouTube later after the bootcamp. During this week, it will be available on Discord, but it won't be available like right away after the lecture because Zoom needs some time to process the video. And basically, I think it's a few hours, like 2 or 3 hours. Is it correct?
Yeah, during one of our practice sessions, it took like 3 or 4 hours for my computer to finish the conversion process, and then we still have to upload it. We were going to try to publish everything to YouTube immediately afterwards, but logistically, there's a lot of problems with that. And so what we're going to do instead is we're going to put them all in a Google Drive folder, make it accessible to everyone on Discord. And then immediately, as soon as we can after the camp, we're going to try to just make one long video that just cuts out the Q&A and just does all the lectures in the order that they make the most sense, because the dev mentors are extremely busy people. Most of them are leading major projects. So they kind of scheduled their lectures for whenever they had availability. So they're a little bit all over the place. So you might notice like on day 2 or 3, some topics that seem like they should have been on day 1. And that's the reason for that. I mean, like you know, this event is really a compilation of a bunch of different volunteers putting in their time to make it happen. So yeah, we'll have a YouTube video sometime in the week following camp. That's probably going to be like 10 hours long or something, that has kind of the logical progression of all the topics.
Yeah, and so for the rest of the resources, like the daily challenges and the daily guides, everything will be on the GitHub. The link for the GitHub will be shared after this meeting on Discord. I've seen on the chat already, but it will be shared again. And for the moment, there is only day 1, but every day we will add like the next day, you know, day 2, day 3, day 4, etc.
Yeah.
And there will there will also be some content on the lectures. So some mentor with their lecture, they have like a repo ready with some maybe exercise or some resources. It's not the case for all lectures, but for all the lectures with resources, it will also be available on the same repo.
Yeah, and we may add more to that README, by the way. We literally just finished editing the README like 10, 20 minutes before we started this. So go on, Seb, sorry.
Yeah, and also the place to ask questions after having searched on Google and ask your team is on the repo as well. There is a section called discussion, and that's where you can ask questions. That's it. I think I've told everything.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead. Abraham Kalu, I'm gonna allow you to talk. So go ahead and ask your. Oh, sorry.
I forgot to tell something. The internet computer is going to be amazing and really huge.
Okay, throw that in there. All right, Abraham, go ahead. What's your question?
All right, thank you so much. Whoa.
Sorry, I have to manually mute there. I think there's a problem with your audio. I'm going to unmute you again, try one more time, and then we'll move on. All right, we'll come back to you, Abraham. I'm going to move on. Daniel Andrade. All right, Daniel, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey guys, I'm curious, let's say that we're really into our project. Are the 10 exercises required to do? I mean, I don't know how hard they're going to be. Let's say like it's the last 3 days and you really want to finish your core project. Would that affect like graduation in the end? Are we required to do those 10 exercises?
Okay, so so the most important thing is the core project. If your core project is amazing and like it's changing the internet computer, and you don't do any challenge, then we don't care. You will win the bootcamp. But basically, the challenges are more for beginners to practice, because it will be hard for them to directly jump into the project. So it's for practice. And if we have like similar projects, we don't know exactly how to rank them. We will probably take the challenges to to choose between the two participants.
Yeah. So basically, if you're an intermediate, which sounds like you might be, the challenges shouldn't be that bad, and you should really do them because it helps teach kind of the concepts you need to know and all that good stuff. At the very least, just make the commits you need to make before the deadline. So you've got to commit to a personal repo. There's a form where you fill out where you show us where the repo is so we know where to look. You fill out that form to give us the link to the repo. You do all the daily challenges in that repo and you commit before the deadline the following day. So each day, you're assigned a daily challenge, and the next day we're going to have a deadline, and then we release the solutions. So just as long as you commit something to your repo before the solutions are published, you're qualified to graduate. That's all we need to see. We're not actually, now when it gets down to the grading at the end of the bootcamp, the core projects is the main thing we take into consideration, but if it gets close, we're going to look at your challenges. So don't worry if you can't get all the challenges right. Don't waste all your time on them. But do the exercise of learning them. At least do the commit so that you qualify for graduation. And if we need a tiebreaker or something else, we're going to review the daily challenges, and whoever does the best on them will be the winner. So that's basically how we're structuring it, because otherwise we'd have to manually grade hundreds of people's multiple. It's a lot. We don't. So that's kind of how we're handling that. Does that make sense, Daniel?
That makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. All right, James W. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question.
All right. Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. I was wondering, at this stage, could you provide some more details as to what the core project will entail?
Yeah, I can take this one, Seb, I guess. Essentially, for beginners, they need to make a web page that has a button, and when you click it, it sends an NFT to the logged in user. So the user has to log in. So pretty much a bare bones NFT minter. And we have an example, Bob NFTs. It's a live project, and the code has been made public for you, so you can kind of see. It's a different coding standard, and it's a difference from the project we're asking for, but that's good because you can see an example that doesn't give you exactly the right answers, right? And then on Monday, Seb is going to basically do a really clear walkthrough to help beginners get started. So between now and Monday, beginners can kind of have open learning time and try to, I think there's a lot of fundamental basics that they still need to learn. Maybe they play with their Hello project a bit more or something like that. Now for intermediates, it's the same thing, but kicked up a notch. We're going to have a token faucet, and you need to involve token transactions somehow and have a more robust front end. And the details are more are laid out in the README. There's a link to another doc that goes into detail. We also have some stock SVG artwork. It's a little messy. I just delivered it the way that the artists delivered it, but that's kind of real world, right? And some resources on how to manipulate SVGs. So you don't have to worry about making art for your NFTs. That's covered. You have rights to use this artwork, and whoever wins first place in intermediate gets to have a collection on Entrepot listed. This artwork, they have the rights to do that. So yeah, you don't have to worry about the artistic side of things, which is good. But yeah, you're basically making an NFT minter. Does that answer your question? Do you have anything else?
That perfectly answers my question. Thanks, man.
Thanks. All right, I'm gonna take. All right, Ellie Gothi. All right, I've allowed you to talk. Go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak. So I have two questions. The first one is that for me, I won't be available all the time because I have sometimes I work, and I was wondering if it's still possible to give the work at the end of the week if I miss 1 day or two.
I mean, there's no like set, you have to be present for this specific lecture or you don't qualify. The only qualifications for the graduation is if you're enrolled, which that's either decided or not by now. If you've made a commit for each daily challenge before the deadline. So you have any time within, I think it's even more than 24 hours, any time within like a 24-hour range, just make a commit to the repo for the daily challenges. And to submit your core project right before the conclusion meeting. Those are the only restrictions that you need to follow. So so we all live in different time zones. There's no specific meeting you need to be present for or anything like that. That gives each person about the same amount of waking hours to do stuff. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, thank you. And so there won't be any more lecture like this at specific time, and that's right, that's correct, or?
No, there's 2 more lectures today.
Okay.
Look at the calendar at the bottom. Everybody, when you go to that calendar, it's going to probably come up in CST. At the very bottom right corner, there'll be a little plus button. Go ahead and click that. It'll copy it to your calendar and show it in your time zone. And I've also published in the Discord. There's a schedule channel. Look in there. I list the times in EST, but yeah, no, there is multiple lectures today. There are lectures every single day.
Okay, so then my question is, if, for example, one day I am at work, but I can follow the lecture in another time zone, will it be possible to do so?
Yeah, so like we mentioned before, every session will be recorded, and then a few hours, whenever we can, as soon as we can, afterwards, we'll upload the recording to a Google Drive folder that we'll give you access to. So if you miss a lecture, just be patient, and then when it's available, go ahead and get it's an MP4 file, download it and watch it, and you should be good to go.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I had to get this a little clearer. Thank you very much.
No
And
problem.
so my other question is that I have a very precise project that I would like to do, and I have already a part of the art for the NFTs. And so I'm really interested in programming, and since a long time, I'm really a beginner. I just know that I'm interested in it. So for me, what would be your suggestion? That I try to do this project, like pitch it to other people, or that I try to learn my best, and then maybe afterwards, yeah, because I don't think I will. Well, I mean, I don't know, but
Okay. So
you understand my question? Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. So try to learn. I would not start trying to build a real project. Start with and even if you were going to build a real project, the smallest, most bare minimum version of whatever you want to build, that would be the thing to build anyways. But just follow the core project that we assign. I think that'll be the best way. If you want to include art that you have permission to use, that you've created yourself, that's fine. We don't care. Either use our art that we provide or art that you do have legal permission to use. That's fine. But make sure that your core project fits the specifications we set. There are no like you can't just make up a different core project entirely and have us compare it the same way to everyone else's. That would not be fair. But yeah, I think if you build a bare minimum of what you eventually want to build as the core project, that's great. You can add on more to it later as you learn. All right, Darman, I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to talk. Go ahead and unmute yourself. What's your question?
Good morning. How's it going? Hope everybody's doing well. First and foremost, before I ask my question, I just want to say a quick shout out to my homies that are in here from ICP community, the Gustavos, the Fourth, and Black Am. Just wanted to salute you guys. It was thanks to them that put me on ICP, and
Nice.
they helped me discover more about this ecosystem. But
right.
anyways, my main question was that I'm a complete beginner and I just started learning, and I just took a peek at the challenge, today's challenge, and it looks like I'm looking at a foreign language like Arabic letters or like, or Asian calligraphy, and I have no idea what to do. So like for absolute beginners like myself, like I just recently started picking up HTML and CSS and whatnot. How steep would the learning curve be? And also when it comes down to the daily challenges, let's say theoretically, if hypothetically, if I were not able to keep up with it and I still managed to finish off the core project, but of course it would be with like a lot of help. Like even with the technical part of this interview, like I received a lot of help. I was the guy who was spamming the shit out of the Discord yesterday. Well, I wasn't really intending to spam, but like I was asking a lot of questions, like every 2-3 steps, and I had no idea what I was doing. So like, my main worry is, would I be able to keep up, or would it be better if I just take a step back and then finish off, or at least polish off like a basic web dev stuff?
Okay, so I think I can answer that. So I know it sounds really scary and maybe really difficult, but we will provide like the lectures of today. I think will help you. There is also everything is explained in the lesson. So there is the guide and the challenge. Look at the guide first, read about it, and then take on the challenges. I think it's possible for beginners to at least do half of the challenges for today, maybe even all of them. Basically, the goal is to do all of them, but if you do, I think like the first 5 are really accessible. It's just a matter, I think you're scared because you don't know the syntax. Like you see a lot of different characters, but in the end, it's about the concept, about like what is a function, what is an argument, the parameter. Once you got that, the questions are really simple, and you can ask questions on the GitHub if you don't understand anything.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
And Seb, just to be clear, the challenges for the day one challenges are the ones that start tomorrow, right? Not really like today.
Oh yeah. We forgot to talk about that. Yeah. Basically today it's like a free day. You just need to watch the lectures and try to understand a few things. The real bootcamp start tomorrow. And I want to say as well, if you don't like, if you miss some day of the challenges, like for example, day one is too hard for you, but you manage to like get back on track and finish the core project, that won't be like penalized or anything.
Yeah. So you have more than a day and a half before the deadline for the day one, because day one is officially talking about tomorrow on the core challenges. And like Seb said, and we've said before, the daily challenges are a tiebreaker, right? So just like give it a try. Like even if you know it's BS, just
no. For me, I'll still give it a shot. Like to basically to learn how to play ball, you're gonna have to dribble and take a few air balls, right? It's necessary.
Because we had thought about including the solutions from the beginning, and you can definitely learn by seeing the problem and seeing the solution, but you really you miss something if you don't see it without the solution, and you need to kind of take some time to like think through it yourself. and then you can compare how your thinking may have been wrong. So like the practice of giving it a try, when the solutions come out, you can view it and see if you got the right answer, see why you may have not gotten the right answer. That's where real learning will happen. So again, I want to reiterate, it's lower priority. The daily challenge is lower priority, but just commit something before the deadline. Just do it so that we know that you're following instructions and that you are, reading instructions. Because frankly, reading documentation and having really good attention to detail and following instructions is a big part of being a developer. So that and learning development. So all right, so I'm going to move on here. I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I don't really want to attempt it, but go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello. Okay, thank you. It's actually Chukwebuk, actually. I have thank you anyway for this opportunity. So I have two questions I want to ask. So the first one is if one actually did not submit the final form that ended yesterday, can the person still actively participate in the challenges? For example, I have some technical problems I had to fix because I had a really tight schedule with regards to my work. So I was able to actually host the Hello Canister this morning, actually. So although the deadline is already over before I was able to do this, so I was kind of asking, can I participate in this challenge? And also, is there still an opportunity to kind of add someone that actually did this later into this Discord group, like a beginner or intermediate level, as the case may be? And also, is there a possibility also for this, for me, for example, to get the Motoko maybe certification, should I complete all the exercises within the deadline? I don't know if I'm clear.
So the thing is, like we mentioned before, this whole project, for context, when I was in the grant interview with Dfinity and they asked how many participants do we expect to have, I said, I'll be happy if we get 10 dev mentors and maybe 30 or 40 students. So, and that was January, and we announced it February. So in like a month, we had to organize an event that was significantly bigger than we thought. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of admin. Enrollment is closed because keeping track of this is really, really difficult. And so, we have to give priority to like the people putting the time in full time, and we're already actively running the camp, and everything in the back end set in motion at this point. But that said, everyone is allowed to follow along. I mean, we're making this public for a reason. So go ahead and solve the daily challenges. Please do. Work on the core project. Just because you might not be getting a little diploma NFT at the end, that's not the value. The biggest value is the learning and the education and the reputation. Because if you have that portfolio core project done, it's done. It's a portfolio item that represents your work on your GitHub, and that has value inherently. So like, I would encourage you to go ahead and try and do that. And we have multiple boot camps coming up. So this isn't your only shot. This isn't your only chance. Things might be rougher this time just because it's our first time doing it anyways. So maybe it'll be even smoother and easier. Like, I think in retrospect, I would not have had 3 separate forms. Make my work a lot harder, having to correlate everything amongst them. Things will be better and more streamlined in future events too. So just this is a great time for you to learn and come in strong, and then you'll be an expert by the time the next bootcamp comes around, and you're definitely going to win those prizes, right? All right, Andres, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to speak. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Mine's a short question. So basically on the, on the bootcamp GitHub, it says that you need to fill out the form, to add the repo for the daily challenges. But when I click it, it gets sent to the calendar. So I don't know if it's a mistake by me or if it's already closed or something.
Oh, okay. So maybe we need to check the link. The README was finished like a few minutes before this meeting. So we will.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We
No,
will
that was all,
update
that was all.
everything. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Hide to. Let me go ahead and allow you to speak. And yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes. All right. Thank you for this great opportunity. So the question is, the differences between the beginners and the intermediate, because I see myself like between beginners and intermediate. So I like to know the tasks we're working on, the difference. It seems like challenges are the same, but the core project is the only difference between the beginners and intermediates.
Yeah. So okay. So the core, the daily challenges are essentially for beginners. Like intermediate, I think it will be easy for them to. Maybe some of them will be a bit challenging, but most of them, it's more about like learning the syntax of Motoko, and yeah, basically the challenges are about basic concepts that you will find in all programming languages. So if you are already familiar with, for example, loops, variables, functions, things like that. If you are already a developer, it will be probably easy for you. It's just about like learning the syntax of Motoko. And the core project, we expect more from intermediates, of course. Everything is detailed in the project document. And
Yeah,
for you, yeah, sorry,
go
for
on.
your specific question on am I a beginner or intermediate, it's tricky, I would say, but like, have you already developed something? Like, have you already created a project? If yes, then you are an intermediate.
Yeah. So, and it also, I think on the discussions section of the GitHub, I'm not sure. I believe there's going to be a tag, so you can tag yourself as beginner and intermediate. And really, it helps us to know too your background. So, like when you're getting support, we need having to know what level you're coming from, prior coding experience or not. And really, the core project. Even though it sounds like you're building the same thing, it's a pretty big difference, because when you involve a token, it's now a multi-canister, a multi-canister app, and there's a lot more complexity involved, and you have to use Candid and some other things, so it's a little deceptive. The core project difference is essentially probably the only difference, but it is a pretty big one. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. So over you guys. So let's see. So I'll do the intermediate core projects, and then I'll do my best. And if I see myself is too difficult, maybe I'll try the beginner's core project. I think, does it work for you guys?
Oh,
what are you enrolled as right now?
Oh, pardon me.
What are you already enrolled as right now?
I'm enrolled as an intermediate.
Okay.
Basically, there is no clear boundary between the core project for beginner and for intermediate. Basically, the basics requirements are the same, like having a web page with a button and creating an NFT. But for the intermediate, we have more requirements. So you need to involve the token. You need to like be creative about the application. But there is no like separation between the project of the beginner and the project of the intermediate. I think it will be a scale. Some people will probably be between beginner and intermediate, but it's just for us, it's easier to, it's not the same. Like if you are really beginner, it's not the same as if you have already programmed with Python or C or any other language.
Yeah, and I don't think that we can, this was something that people identified themselves when they filled out the form. But at this point, once we already kind of start, because there are prize pools on the line, it might not be fair for somebody to demote themselves to begin. So it's not fair for the beginners who were honest and upfront with being a complete beginner if a bunch of intermediates then decide they want to be beginners and then they can't win any prizes because a bunch of intermediates who actually did have coding experience come in and take up the prize pool. So I'm not changing roles right now. It's already, the deadlines have been posted for a while. We want to keep things fair. So yeah, I think that, you know, the intermediate is doable though. So, all right, Crypto Kaihu, go ahead and unmute yourself and let's see what you got.
Hi guys. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. And my question is just simply, so let's say we're doing the beginner, and we've done all the challenges and we've done, you know, maybe some progress for our core projects during the day, but we still want to do more. What kind of things would you suggest to some beginners to kind of try to fit in if they have the time to kind of boost their skills up a bit more?
Okay. I mean, make your core project more awesome, add new features. We kind of made,
yeah, but I mean, like, because like what gap should I feel like? Should I be like learning more JavaScript, or you know, would it be useful for me to learn Python and then translate that into how would it work in ICP, for example? Like, what would you recommend to get someone up to speed a bit faster in if they have a few extra bits, you know, some extra time, or they can put in more time?
Okay, yeah, so it's up to us. I'm sorry for this really generic answer, but you know, you have developers that are more specialized into front end, so like JavaScript, CSS, and all the frameworks, and you have like backend developer that focus more on Motoko and like data structures, algorithms, all those things. It's up to us. If you want to spend more time on Motoko, you can do it. I think you already have a lot to do, but if you want more resources, you can take a look on the Dfinity website. You have a lot of like advanced repo, and I can also provide more resources if you want to. Like we have some. If you want to take a look at something like like Quint is doing, so you have like different modules with different code. Motoko code like is very advanced, I would say. So it's up to us, but you can also take the time you have to go on the internet and learn about JavaScript a bit more, maybe CSS if you want to. Yeah, that's really up to us.
I would say, you know, some of the more basic fundamental things like general web development topics, there's a lot of resources that you can learn those. This is a great opportunity to get accessibility with people who have internet computer knowledge. So try to dive deeper into Motoko and internet computer knowledge if you can. Maybe learn Rust, the Rust version a little bit. The Dfinity Dev Discord is a great place to go. The Dfinity Dev forum, there's a lot of great articles in there to go read. But also just you know, be creative with your projects. We set the guidelines for a little bit loose. So like for the intermediates involving a token transaction, in the most boring way would be to just require a token to mint, right? But you know, I came up with some. I commissioned some artwork that was like that I felt maybe somebody could use it in a creative way I wouldn't expect. We want to be surprised, and I think the winners will be people who surprise us by making something really dope. So just, you know, like find something you're passionate about, preferably in a Motoko direction, in a computer direction, and then just pursue it.
Okay, thanks guys. That's my only question.
All right, thanks. You have a good one. All right, ICP Jesse, how you doing, man?
Good morning. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thank you to the admins and mods for doing this. Realize how much work it is and appreciate you herding all of us cats. I wanted to just kind of restate and make sure I sort of understand the daily workflow we'll be going through. So every day we'll attend all the lectures that are sort of happening during our time zone, but it seems like everyone will have lectures that are, you know, in the middle of the night for them, and we'll catch those a couple hours later. And then we will also attend, you know, our sort of group sessions and you know, for Q&A and help. And then we will check GitHub for the daily challenges which we'll complete. And then we will also do work on our core project. And then we sort of wash, rinse, and repeat that process for every day. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's correct. Basically, you need to make your own planning based on like what lectures are happening in your time zone when you are up. And so basically you need to provide some time to maybe catch up on the lectures you've missed because you were sleeping. Then you can take on the daily challenges, and once you're done, you have all the rest of the time to work on the core projects.
Seb, I don't like the way you say you were sleeping. Like that's my personal problem. And
How
then
dare you sleep?
So I'm looking at like the day one challenges right now in GitHub, and I am, you know, feeling, you know, as a very, very beginner, these look, you know, are kind of very foreign to me and are definitely going to require a lot of learning to accomplish. Where are the like resource? So what you posted, this is for tomorrow. Tomorrow was day ones. These are tomorrow's challenges. Is that right?
As if you just got them tomorrow morning. So
okay.
The deadline's not until Monday in my time zone. I think it's 7 a.m.
Cool. And then where do we see deadlines for all of these challenges and how to complete them?
I updated the calendar.
Cool.
And it's not color coded if you just use the Google Calendar link, but if you do the little plus button plus Google Calendar in the bottom right, and it copies it over, you should see color coding. Deadlines are in red, lectures are in orange, dev mentors obsessions, I think blue. So
great. And then I was going to ask, I don't know if it's possible, but if you can put links to different resources in the calendar events themselves, that would be super handy instead of digging them out in Discord, if possible.
It links in the calendar itself, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are. They are. So if you're just viewing the Google Motoko Bootcamp shared calendar URL, you can click on one of the meetings, and in the description, you'll see the invite URL.
Hey, they are there. Excellent.
Yeah. No, it's been updated since last night. I got 2 hours of sleep last night, so it's all in place now.
2 hours of sleep must be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right. We have time for one more question. Abraham, I think we already, one more question. I think you're the last one because I want you all to have a full hour to have your team meetings on Discord. And then like exactly 1 hour from them. Right after you get out of that, Seb has a really good lecture that we want you to attend. So this is the last question. All right, go ahead, Abraham.
All right, thank you so much. I was actually connecting with two devices, my PC and my phone. So the whole stuff, the sound was echoing, so I couldn't hear myself. That's why I have to disconnect the first time. All right. My question here is on the deploying of the applications. Let's say we are to deploy just like we did on the Hello World task. So the question here is on the ICP in getting the circles, are we really going to be funding our circles with our money, or is there any way we can be getting money to fund that? That's question number one. And then number two, it's not really a kind of question, but a kind of appeal, just like I made on the Discord channel regarding the team support. Yeah, maybe I didn't really understand what that team was when I was filling the form through. So I think I would like to be added to a team because I need that fun part of it. So that's just what I want to say.
Okay.
Question one.
On,
if you have already deployed 2 canisters on the IC for the submission, you can reuse them basically. You don't need to add more cycles. Basically what really costs cycles is the one time where you deploy the canister for the first time. But once the canister is on the IC, it doesn't use a lot of cycle, except if you have a crazy application, and you can basically redeploy a new code into the canister. We will explain that in further lectures, but you don't need to pay again for a new canister. You can just redeploy, and you can use those two canister because you have the one for the front end and the one for the back end. So you have two canisters that you can use, and basically you need, if you are a beginner, you need two for the challenge. So you don't need any more cycle.
And for those who can easily afford it, I would say leave your Hello Canister up, maybe make it a portfolio website, whatever else. The more portfolio items, the better. But feel free to use it however you want. And you can, but that's the great thing is you already have that up there. So if you don't want to pay the money, you can just go ahead and reuse those. And yeah, so Abraham, to solve your other question about teams, are you a beginner or intermediate?
Yeah, I'm a beginner.
You're a beginner. What time zone are you in?
Okay, I'm in Nigeria.
Nigeria. All right. Any other Nigerians who are beginners who belong to a team, please raise your hand and invite Abraham to be part of your team. Teams are informal, so we need you to get adopted by a team, basically. All right, 1 second. I got a Sutos. Are you? What's the name of your team? Unmute yourself. You're on mute. Sutos.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, are you? You're what?
Am I audible to you?
Are you a beginner that's in Nigeria?
Yeah, I'm a totally beginner. I'm from India.
Oh, okay. No, I'm looking for somebody to take a beginner from Nigeria who has a team that can take Abraham on their team. This is the last question. We have to wrap up right now. So hey, I know that there's multiple Nigerians that were beginners that were on teams. All right. Anybody want? Come on.
Maybe we
All
can.
Right. We got Alimide. Yeah.
Yeah. We can take him tonight.
What's the name of your team?
Lovely Pigeon.
Lovely Pigeon. All right, Abraham, go to the Lovely Pigeons chat. That's your team now.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You've been adopted, officially adopted. All right. All right, everybody, that's our time. I don't want to go into your team meeting hour any more than we already have. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We're so happy about this. Let's kick this off. Let's go build some cool stuff. All right, go get to know your team, and we'll see you back here in less than an hour.
Yeah, thank you, guys.